My name is Elizabeth Clark. I also go by LizC. I'm a spoken word poet from Toronto, Ontario, and the poem I'm going to do for you today is called A Lukewarm Gospel. God is calling the distant, the lawless crossing borders of existence, tempting his intervention but missing the instinct to seek in a desperate instant. We are victims of Eve's treason, teasing the enemy, seductively breaching boundaries and fantasizing life's apple trees, breathing greed and entertaining sickened creeds where starving cattle ask and beg for food to eat, but left to feed off of popularity's favorite scriptures. Please read to the preacher Jesus plead to his brothers and sisters. My knees fall to the altar at the feet of God's anointed earthly doctors, but sometimes we forget whose hospital we're in, who operates and restarts hearts and aren't able to identify imposters from the real thing. They'll say there he is performing healing. False gods are deceiving and thieving seeing beings of the kingdom, leading and breeding demon heathens. Interpreted teachings are expressed deathlines by churches forming hating systems, decreeing to the people a prison sentence further away from the most just king. Religion is the wilderness looking to bloom fruit, but systematic bitterness has groomed many unwise fools, tools of the prophecy of roots they dream to rule. There is political uproar in the temple of peace, pinnacle ascension on the backs of our own men, sacrificing people over personal cynical views, yet within the pews, desperate believers are looking to hear the good news of Jesus, not the gospel of a religious crew, fragranced of a holy truth. You can prove and argue about what Jesus would or could do, but even when he was among us, we made up our own truths to comfort our own views. Corrected lens skewed, we thought what we knew, think based off of man's proof. Now church is counting how many members they lose due to empty bottles of spiritual perfume brewed in lukewarm stew. Customs of ancient traditions are keeping out ill-suited generations, the Gentiles of the times who are born with an affiliation to Christ just like you. But the price to love is valued by few, and sacrificing suffering will never be in fashion, though the crown of thorns was worn from the passion of our Christ. The cross and apparel piece that cost more than your life, the blood that covered his face, blended from a palette that now highlights your grace, will continue in hatred and discrimination, where hardship serves as our proof that God doesn't exist, and if he is who he is, why does he let tormenting persist? We want God to perform tricks like a magician does for kids. God gave us a Holy Spirit within us, yet we have more fear in the phantoms living within bricks. Even Christians are like addicts looking for a quick fix. God, if you could just come through real quick. Pick up the pieces and the leaks in my spirit that I let drip. Mend the relationships I didn't have faith in, didn't maintain, so I backslid and slipped up and blamed the same name in vain. I cry out and proclaim before stages. But in private, no room feels prayed in. Still in public, I post on media pages. Before Satan, I'm bold and I'm brave. Before man, I become a reflection of all the things that God hates. We exchange fame for favors, for upgrades, for blessings we haven't paid for, and souls that should never be sold. A soul we should not waver, but we waver in faith and drift down lanes laid out to be avoided. But still he gives us the options to test if we're out to play our own games, to see if we're ready to chase your purpose, ready to accept the grace your son came and gave. Still, no matter where I go, where I fall, where I'm blown, still no matter what I face, you leave a supernatural trace to let me know and remind me that you're never late.